Welcome back to Movies TV Mad. Of course, you can follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad. And welcome to Thursday's edition of the DCEU Daily. So, unreliable Warner Brothers have done it again. They have moved the Shazam Fury of the Gods release date to 4 or 5 days after the actual release date of Avatar 2, which is very sensible at the end of the day. But why didn't they just do this in the first place? And this is why I keep on saying you can't trust this studio. Harris Selick. Stop, Mick. A very good morning to you, Harris Selick. Let's get into this. Let's get the details about this change of release date for Shazam Fury of the Gods. Shazam 2 shifts release date, now opens days after Avatar 2. I just want to laugh because this studio's a joke. It's a joke. Warner Brothers delays the release date of Shazam Fury of the Gods by 5 days, seemingly to avoid a direct battle with Avatar 2 at the box office. And let me say something to you, how bad this looks. Instead of releasing this away from Avatar 2 at the beginning, they now look like a bunch of cowards who have no faith in the DC Extended Universe. Balconator, when are we going to see the DCEU movie trailers that was shown in CinemaCon? Maybe next week when Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Cameos is released. And this is by Richard Fink of Screen Rant. The Legend CJ, do you think they'll restart the DCEU after these new movies are released? I believe the DCEU is toast history after either the Flash movie or they do a Final Crisis movie. Then they start again. That's what I believe they are aiming for, because the DCEU, David Zaslav, like I know, like anyone intelligent knows, there is no consumer confidence. Us nerds on here are getting excited for all these DC movies, but the mainstream audience, not so much. That's a problem. Warner Brothers has pushed back Shazam Fury of the Gods a handful of days in an apparent attempt to avoid colliding with Avatar, The Way of Water. Well, it could have been worse. They could have called it The Wave of Water. Originally set for release in June 2023, Shazam Fury of the Gods was bumped up to December 2022 as the studio delayed Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom and The Flash to next year. However, eyebrows were raised when Warner Brothers opted to open the upcoming DC film against none other than the long-awaited Avatar 2. This is an interesting question for you. If it was Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom that remained there instead of Shazam Fury of the Gods, I wonder if they would have moved it. I think that movie would have stood a really good chance against Avatar 2, but not Shazam Fury of the Gods. So, yes. So, upcoming DC film against none other than the long-awaited Avatar 2. Shazam 2 will see the returns of Zachary Levi and Asher Angel, both of whom play young hero Billy Batson. When the teenager Billy Asher says the words, Shazam! He turns into a superpowered adult. Levi Shazam Fury of the Gods plot details are still being kept under wraps. Under wraps! It's been fucking leaked everywhere. I know the entire plot about this movie. I have done a video about it. But it will involve a pair of formidable godly villains, Hespera Helen Mirren and Calypso Lucy Liu. New footage for Shazam 2 screened earlier this week at CinemaCon, teasing Billy's latest adventure alongside his similarly powered siblings. With the hype for Avatar, The Way of Water, skyrocketing in the past 24 hours following its own CinemaCon presentation. Wait a minute. They needed the hype for Avatar 2 at CinemaCon to make them decide that they need to move it. Absolutely useless. Warner Brothers has opted out of having a direct box office battle with the successful franchise, according to Deadline. Yeah, because the DCEU isn't a successful franchise. With a successful franchise, according to Deadline, the studio has moved the release date of Shazam Fury of the Gods back 5 days to December 21st, 2022. This means the film will open on the Wednesday before the Christmas holiday. Shazam Fury of the Gods now opens the same day as Puss in Boots. How embarrassing would that be if that does better? The Last Wish director David F. Sandberg tweeted out a humorous response to the delay, making light of Shazam's near brush with Avatar 2 by writing, "You're welcome, Cameron. Yeah, it's all very funny, David, and you did the same when they moved it up to the same date as Avatar, but I don't see the funny side. I'm not laughing. This is not customer service. This is why the DCEU is in such a bad position. They've been changing dates and deleting slates since the very early stages of the DC Extended Universe. We originally had a slate. We had a Man of Steel sequel. We had Cyborg. We had so many things. Where are those films? Who the fuck knows? Even the films and the slates they're talking about now, you can't trust them. This is what I've been saying all along. And shills and fanboys and girls don't like it when I say this. While Avatar: The Way of Water could dominate the holiday season like its predecessor before it, that does not mean that Shazam 2 will suffer. In fact, this is not the first time Warner Brothers has released a high-profile tentpole film against Avatar. In 2009, the studio released Sherlock Holmes on Christmas Day, just 1 week after the original Avatar in the film. And while the film failed to land the #1 spot, it opened to a $62 million at the 2 spot and went on to gross $524 million worldwide. Well, I guess this film making that kind of money would be a win. Shazam! Fury of the Gods might benefit from the later December release date. December 21st is the same day Aquaman opened in 2018, and that film went on to become DC's highest grossing film worldwide with over $1 billion. Yeah, but that wasn't 4 or 5 days after an Avatar movie. With the Shazam films being very family focused, it might be a nice alternative for audiences who want something different following Avatar: The Way of Water's opening weekend. Shazam 2 will also have the year-end holidays and the month of January to play out. Even with the release of Kraven the Hunter in January 2023, Shazam! Fury of the Gods likely will perform well through the season. Yeah, it'll be consistent, I'm sure. The first film was consistent. That depends what happens with the movie. We don't know, right? We don't know if it's actually a good movie. You can't trust a DCEU movie before you see it to know if it's a good movie or not. So we'll have to wait and see. 80s Rewind at times 90s. Hey, Mick, good evening, my friend. Good evening from where you are. Good morning from where I am. The time now is 6:23 a.m. here in Cyprus. That's 4:23 a.m. in the UK. I've been awake since 3 a.m. My mind is bubbling away with DC thoughts and knowledge and excitement and frustration. So what are my actual thoughts about this change of date? Of course, it's the right decision if you want to make any money. But when you were changing the dates, you should have given Shazam! Fury of the Gods this date in the first place. It made no sense. Yes, we know Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom was going against Avatar 2. Something tells me that would have moved as well. I'm just confused with the way this studio, led by Toby Emmerich, is run. It makes no sense. What kind of consumer confidence can you have when you keep on moving your movies around? Think about this. A day ago, we had a Warner Brothers panel, a CinemaCon. On the posters, they had the Avatar 2 date plastered all over it. A day later, they've changed the date. So if they can change the date that they were plastering on posters at a convention, how much reliability has this studio and this franchise got? And this is when one of my favorite and most loyal subscribers, Ronnie Dodge, got heated with me yesterday when I was talking about Andy Muschietti being quiet and probably being moved on from The Flash, and extensive reshoots probably being done with a brand new director, someone probably like J.J. Abrams. This is Justice League Mark II. It just probably will end up a bit better in the box office than that did. But they're just repeating their same mistakes all over again. And it is my job as a YouTuber to talk about these things and call these things out. How can you trust a studio? How can you trust a franchise that literally has one date at a convention, then changes the date from that convention a day later? How can a consumer have any trust with these people? The times, 80s Rewind and times 90s. 11:23 p.m. on the East Coast. Oh yes, that's right. And even in America have different time zones. That's so American, right? 80s rewind, the times 90s. Oh no, what did I miss, Mick? We're just talking about the delayed release date. We've been through the article, so if you want to see me go through it again, just go and watch the video from the very beginning. So yes, it's changing its date. It's going to come 4 or 5 days, I think, after Avatar, whatever they're calling it. So let's just call it Avatar 2. I'm happy with this. The opening box office for Shazam! Fury of the Gods will be stronger. That's great. But this should have been the way all along. Why would you do that? Why would you be intimidated because of the popularity of the stuff they revealed at CinemaCon? Why wouldn't you put this? Why wouldn't you move it away from Avatar 2 from the beginning? It never made sense for Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom to go out on the same date as Avatar 2. People don't get it. I don't know what Avatar 2 is going to make. It'll be interesting, but it's going to be a very successful movie. There's no question about that. '80s rewind, the times 90s, they changed the movie date. Yes, they did. All details in the video earlier on. So if you just want to go back to the beginning, but yes, they've moved the date, and now it's 4 or 5 days later after Avatar 2, and I've given my opinion already about that. Right, let's carry on. Batman Returns writer didn't like Tim Burton's Batman '89. Daniel Walters, the screenwriter of Batman Returns 1992, reveals he did not like the first Batman film directed by Tim Burton in 1989 by Francis Wendorf of Screen Rant. Daniel Walters, who wrote the screenplay for Warner Brothers' Batman Returns, apparently did not like the film's predecessor, Batman. Batman Returns, which premiered in 1992, was director Tim Burton's sequel to his 1989 film Batman. The film saw the return of Michael Keaton as the titular Caped Crusader and famously added Danny DeVito as the villainous Penguin. The film is the second installment of Warner Brothers' first Batman series, Batman Forever 1995 and Batman and Robin 1997, followed in subsequent years by Joel Schumacher's replaced Burton as director for the final 2 films, while Val Kilmer and George Clooney respectively replaced Keaton as Batman Bruce Wayne. Burton apparently expressed apprehension regarding his return as director for Batman Returns initially after the result of his first Batman left him unsatisfied. However, Walters' writing talent and script impressed and convinced Burton to embark on directing the film. Writer Wesley Strick, it should be noted, went uncredited for writing the shooting draft as well. Well, what a surprise, Hollywood uncrediting someone. That's not a new thing, by the way. Burton's disillusionment with the first film is evident in Walters' recollection to Vulture of the director's clear-cut instructions for the sequel's narrative, and Walters' easy agreement due to his own dislike for the film. Walters' distaste ran deep, that he, in fact, wanted to hatch a narrative revenge device to gloriously kill off his least favourite character from Batman, but Burton insisted that he wanted the sequel to have nothing to do with the first film at all. Check out his statement on his process of writing Tim Burton's Batman Returns below. I wasn't even given directives by Tim Burton, just that he didn't want Batman Returns to have anything to do with the first Batman, to be honest. I'm not a fan of the first Tim Burton Batman. There's a character played by Robert Wall, a reporter who I really couldn't stand. Wow! Knox was all right. I wanted to have a scene in Returns where he gets crucified against the bat signal, but Tim Burton said, no, don't bring up the first one at all. Just do something completely different. While neither Walters nor Burton possessed a particular fondness for the first Batman, Batman Returns had big shoes to fill in following the success of the 1989 film, which grossed over $40 million at the box office, while Batman Returns in 1992 earned less at the box office than its predecessor. It also enjoyed a warm critical reception. The uniquely stylized performances of DeVito as the Penguin, Christopher Walken as wealthy Gotham businessman Max Schreck, and Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman earned particular acclaim. The initial Batman series established a standard for the superhero genre, with its distinct style, music narrative, and iconic performances of the beloved DC comic book characters. By the very nature of its pop culture phenomenon, future iterations of Batman character inevitably exists in conversation with the series, and in particular the first two attesting to the talents of Walters and Burton in the continuation of the first film's success. Thus, the enormous success of 2022's The Batman, Warner Brothers' first film in their reboot of the series, arguably illustrates rather than mitigates the legacy of the original Batman series and Walters' contribution to Batman Returns. So, very interesting stuff. What do I think of Batman 89? I certainly prefer Batman Returns to Batman 89. I don't hate Batman 89. I think it's a very, very good film in its own right. But let's ask the question, why would Tim Burton hate his own film? Well, he's a perfectionist. But could it be another saga in Warner Brothers taking away artistic integrity away from a director? Maybe that film wasn't what he wanted it to be because Warner Brothers wouldn't allow it to be. And maybe that's why he hates that film. Maybe Robert Wells' Knox was an introduction and an insistence from the studio or an executive, and maybe that's why they didn't like that character. I thought Knox was a good journalist. I think Robert Wells and Kim Basinger did a really good job together. They had great on-screen chemistry. So I don't hate that character. I don't hate Batman 89, but I can certainly say right here and right now, Batman Returns is certainly the better movie, one of my favorite Batman films of all time. 80s rewind at times, 90s. Batman 89 to me is more of a Joker origin film. Batman Returns is the return of Batman and more of a film about Batman. Love Batman Returns. I love Batman Returns, one of my favorite, as I said, Batman movies. So we continue. What have we got next for you on today's DCEU Daily? So we got more from Daniel Walters, the writer of Batman Returns. Danny DeVito had funny complaint about Penguin in Batman Returns. Batman Returns screenwriter Daniel Walters recalls the funny complaint Danny DeVito had about the way he wrote the classic DC villain Penguin by Alexander Harrison of Screen Rant. Danny DeVito had a funny complaint about his Batman Returns character, Penguin. The film from director Tim Burton was his follow-up to his 1989 Batman, which had introduced Michael Keaton as the titular DC superhero. Batman Returns released in 1992 to both positive reviews and strong box office performance and remains a popular entry into the Batman canon. Notable for filtering the comic book characters through Burton's gothic visual sensibilities, Batman or Backlash from parents arguing the movie was despite its, let me say that again, certain degree of Batman Returns was met with a certain degree of backlash from parents arguing the movie was, despite its PG-13 rating, too dark for children. One key element of this criticism was likely DeVito's Penguin, whose version of the crime boss was a grotesque man raised by penguins who seems at times to be more animal than human. This notoriously creepy villain was simultaneously a source of significant critical praise, and both DeVito's performance and that of Catwoman actor Michelle Pfeiffer remain beloved by fans of the genre. Absolutely. In an interview with Vulture, however, Batman Returns writer Daniel Walters reveals a funny complaint DeVito had of his first draft. Walters notes that the filmmakers were in no way beholden to the comic histories of the Batman characters, nor even Burton's previous movie, which left them with a lot of room to invent. When the Penguin actor finished reading the script, he pointed out that Walters had ended up writing a version of the villain that drew heavily on his star image. Check out the quote below. We didn't have any loyalty to past histories of the Catwoman or Penguin character either. We did absolutely our own thing in my first draft. Danny DeVito's complaint about Penguin was, this is too much, like a Danny DeVito character. It seems that the notion of DeVito being perfectly cast in the role of Batman Returns Penguin came in the part from the way the character was written to suit him. The film's Oswald Cobblepot does depart significantly from the source material, which depicted the crime boss as gentlemanly and sane. a stark contrast from DeVito's freakish, psychotic portrayal. Indeed, Burton convinced him to play the role by remaking the villain into something that would interest him, and in doing so gave DeVito the comic book role of a lifetime. Penguin recently reappeared in Matt Reeves' The Batman, and Colin Farrell's version of the character seems to sit somewhere between the original and DeVito's reimagining. While the gangster is distinctively human, Farrell was still required to act from beneath extensive prosthetics, and his behavior is not quite as refined as someone who fancies themselves the gentleman of crime. Well, he is the comic book Penguin. He's nothing like the Tim Burton Penguin. He's not a gentleman, but at the end of the day, he's more faithful than DeVito's version, which I love as well. The Batman's Penguin spin-off series will give the chance for the character to come into his own, and it will be interesting to see whether he ends up leaning closer to the source comics version or that of Batman Returns. Well, I've forgotten the journalist's name. It's obviously going to be closer to the source material. As I've already explained, you know, Farrell's Penguin, Reeves' Penguin is really with the source material. It's never going to be anything near what DeVito and Burton did. That's okay. As much as I love what they did, what are you talking about? So yeah, very interesting thoughts from the Batman Returns writer there. So now Michelle Pfeiffer is asked if she'd ever play Catwoman again. Would Michelle Pfeiffer return as Catwoman? The Batman actress responds. Michelle Pfeiffer reveals whether she would be open to a big screen return as her iconic Batman Returns character, the Catwoman, by Dan Sinitsky of Screen Rant. Batman Returns star Michelle Pfeiffer reveals whether she would consider returning as Catwoman. Michael Keaton made movie history as the first blockbuster Cape Crusader in 1989's Batman. For the sequel, director Tim Burton brought on Danny DeVito as Batman's nemesis, the Penguin, alongside Pfeiffer as the infamous Catwoman. Burton's Batman Returns, of course, remains a somewhat divisive work among fans of DC comic book films, but while it's a matter of some debate whether Burton's over-the-top movie really captures the spirit of Batman, most seem to agree that Pfeiffer's portrayal of Catwoman is one of the film's strongest elements. Now, what they're doing here, in the other articles, they said it was popular and it did well. Now they're saying there's debate from fans, and the only good thing was Michelle Pfeiffer because she's a woman. This is where we are today. Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman was fucking great, awesome, but so was DeVito, so was Walken, so was Keaton, so was Goff, so was everyone, right? And whether all fans like it or not, the Burton era of Batman films is currently undergoing somewhat of a nostalgic revival, with Keaton set to reprise the role of Bruce Wayne in the upcoming DCEU film, The Flash. Now, it's interesting, isn't it, actually? We talk about Keaton for a little while. Instead of doing the proper Flashpoint story, with Jeffrey Dean Morgan as the father, as Thomas Wayne, they went down this direction. It's the reason they did Batman versus Superman for quick box office. This could come back and shoot them in the balls. And not only that, it could hurt the iconic status that Keaton's Batman has got. These things are always difficult to do going years later. It sounds exciting. It sounds awesome. We'll have to wait and see if it works. Keaton's previously unthinkable return as Batman naturally has fans wondering whether Pfeiffer herself would ever consider returning to the big screen as Selina Kyle. Asked about just this during a recent profile in THR, Pfeiffer indeed left the door open on the possibility she could again pick up Catwoman's whip. She said it would depend on the context, but yeah, I'd consider it. The character of Catwoman has, of course, enjoyed a rich cinematic life outside of Pfeiffer's portrayal in Batman Returns. There was in 2004 a standalone movie, Catwoman, starring Halle Berry as Patience Phillips. Why is that a proud history? The movie was a flop. A character loosely based on the comic books. Then in 2012, the role of Selina Kyle was taken by Anne Hathaway in Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight Rises. And of course, Catwoman returned again in 2022's The Batman, with Zoe Kravitz playing an appropriately dark and gritty version of the character, yes, and faithful to the source material. I know you can't admit that now, Screen Rant, but that's how it is. Given the generally positive response to Kravitz's portrayal of Catwoman in blockbuster The Batman, it seems a slam dunk that Selina Kyle will be back at some point in the near future, yes, in the next movie. Perhaps even in the recently announced sequel to Matt Reeves' Cape Crusader movie. No, not perhaps, definitely. Pfeiffer's version of Catwoman will, of course, not be a good fit for Reeves. Right, it doesn't matter if she's a good fit for Reeves or not. He weren't going to cast her anyway. Relatively grounded version of the Batman universe, but would make a lot more sense in a movie like The Flash, which features multiple incarnations of Batman alongside other multiverse characters. Indeed, there has been speculation that Pfeiffer's Catwoman actually is in The Flash, but the fact is being kept under wraps. Given the strong chemistry Pfeiffer had with Keaton in Batman Returns, it would certainly be a delight to see them back together. It would, on the big screen, as their DC characters. The Flash, of course, already looks to be a feast for DC fans, and having Pfeiffer's Selena Kyle on board for the fun would only make things that much more delicious. Yes, the Flash movie coming out next year, starring Michael Keaton as Batman. At this point, you know, Ezra Miller is such poison to this marketing. They're already using Keaton as the main marketing and publicity. Why don't they change the name to The Flash, from The Flash to the Batman, right? Call it the Batman, and you can say starring Michael Keaton as one of the Batmen. You don't actually ever have to mention Miller again. Oh, that's hilarious. Well, it is to me. I find my own jokes funny. Actually, it's something that's a joke, and actually, they could do it. I mean, people would go mad. Why are they calling it the Batman now? Typical WB. But at least you didn't have, you could literally make Miller a special guest star in the movie and not use him in the marketing at all. 80s rewind at times, 90s, my mom did not like that. They pretty much drowned a baby in the beginning of the movie. Well, here's my kind of response to people who get offended about things like that. Yes, we see Penguin's parents drown him. That's an important moment to see what this character has gone through, so we can understand that how he's become a monster, how he's become a monster physically and psychologically. That didn't offend me. That compelled me. So yeah, there's that. So yes, you never know. We may get to see not only Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman, but Danny DeVito's Penguin in the Flash movie. He has been hinting. Shazam 2 will subvert the superhero movie genre, says Rachel Ziegler. So Rachel Ziegler plays an undisclosed character in Shazam Fury of the Gods. Unfortunately, young Rachel thinks she's a lot more important and relevant than she actually is, and makes a lot of SJW statements. Nobody's listening, Rachel. Nobody cares. But this is a little bit troubling. Let me read the title again. Shazam 2 will subvert the superhero movie genre. Let's give it a read. Shazam Fury of the Gods star Rachel Zegler teases the upcoming DCEU sequel, subverts the expectations viewers have for superhero movies. By Alexander Harrison. Yes, Rachel. What we shouldn't be expecting an awesome, epic, fun superhero movie where superheroes fight villains, right? Leaving it at that. We, of course, with you extreme leftists, have to subvert expectations. I'll translate what subverting expectations means in Hollywood today. It means you can make something really crap, really underwhelming, and something that's a yawn fest instead of something good. What subverting expectations used to mean in Hollywood is the movie Seven, where you don't expect Kevin Spacey to turn up at the end of the movie and literally put Gwyneth Paltrow's head in a box and hand it to Brad Pitt. That's actually properly subverting expectations. You creatively bankrupt defensive SOBs. Anyway. 80s rewind at times, 90s. I heard rumours of Adam West and Christopher Reeves being in the movie. Screen Rant mentioning old footage, of course. That would be amazing. Yes, I've heard that too. I think it's true. Shazam Fury of the Gods star Rachel Zegler teases the movie will subvert the superhero genre. The upcoming sequel to 2019 Shazam is helmed by returning director David F. Sandberg and continues the story of Zachary Levi's DCEU superhero. As the result of some schedule shuffling by Warner Brothers, Shazam Fury of the Gods is now set to be a 2022 movie hitting theatres on December the 16th. Of course, that's not the case anymore. It's been released December the 21st, which is 17, 18, 19, 20, 5 days after Avatar 2. So that will help. Picking up after Billy Batson's foster siblings each gained a similar superhero alter ego, Shazam 2 will see the titular character confront new divine threats. Helen Mirren and Lucy Liu have been cast as Hespera and Calypso, respectively, two daughters of Atlas, who serve as the movie's primary antagonist. Zegler joins as a character initially kept secret, though she ultimately confirmed she's playing the third daughter of Atlas. It's already been leaked anyway. With the nature of her relationship to Shazam at this point unknown, now Zegler teases DCEU fans on Twitter with a very enthusiastic description of Shazam Fury of the Gods, hailing it as a cinematic masterpiece. Oh my God, Rachel, you've had some hot takes, sweetheart, but this is ridiculous. I'm one of the most biased DCEU fans out there, but calling a Shazam movie a masterpiece, let's be honest, no matter what they do, it's not going to be a masterpiece. I've read the leaks for this movie. It's definitely not a masterpiece. It sounds okay. It sounds great and entertaining, but a masterpiece, Rachel, why do people so easily, readily use that word today when, let's be fair, since 2016, you can't even use the word masterpiece with these creatively bankrupt works of so-called art. Now, Zegler teases DCU fans on Twitter with very enthusiastic description of Shazam Fury of the Gods, hailing it as a cinematic masterpiece. The actor notes Sandberg's movie will subvert what is expected of the superhero genre, hinting that a few narrative surprises are in store for viewers this December. Additionally, she says the film will continue the original's exploration of family by emphasizing the importance of both blood relation and chosen family, which I like, which is great, which the first film trod on as well. Likely setting up a conflict between the villainous sisters and Billy's foster siblings. Check out her original tweet below. So, should we go to Twitter and see what she actually said? Right. The thing about Shazam 2 is that it's a cinematic masterpiece that will subvert expectations of superhero films and emphasize the importance of both blood and chosen family and the way we view the world when we cultivate love in our hearts, despite our circumstances. Thank you, CinemaCon. Good night. I haven't seen Shazam 2. I just work here. You haven't seen Shazam 2, but you're calling it a masterpiece, right? I know you were in the movie, but you weren't there for the entire movie. You haven't seen the movie, and you're calling it a masterpiece. It's insane. The Hollywood bullshitters just can't stop talking shit, can they, right? And do you know what I think's really funny about these Hollywood folk like Zegler, who keeps on lecturing her customers and her audience, right? These are the most horrible people, corrupt people who work for the most corrupt institutions, the Hollywood studios, and they talk about kindness and compassion and family values. Rachel, you lot wouldn't know what family values were if you had to live with the fucking Waltons. Zegler's tweet comes in the wake of new Shazam 2 footage being shared to attendees of CinemaCon, a major event for the movie theatre industry currently being held in Las Vegas. The clip included a pseudo Wonder Woman cameo, much like the first Shazam appearance, in which the audience doesn't see the face of the major star playing the character. In this case, however, she turns out to be part of a dream. Yes, but you will see Wonder Woman at the end of the film. She has a vital part of the narrative to take care of. Doubling down on Zegler's description of the key theme, the footage even included Shazam making a Fast and Furious joke, playing on the franchise's heightened obsession with family. Even if her description of Sandberg's movie is winkingly hyperbolic, Zegler is clearly excited about her DCEU debut, which should help build general optimism among fans. WB's superhero franchise has proven uneven at times, to say the least, but the buoyant tone of Shazam helped it become a standout favourite for many, encouraging hope that the sequel can recreate the same magic, no pun intended. Adding bona fide stars in Mirren and Liu, along with ascendant talent like Zegler, has only increased anticipation, and now that CinemaCon has taken the marketing campaign a step further, the first Shazam Fury of the Gods trailer shouldn't be too far now. Yeah, listen, basically, The woman hasn't even seen the movie and she's calling it a masterpiece. It's a joke. I'm excited. I was excited about the footage. I'm excited for the future. I'm excited to see what David Zaslav does with DC going forward. And by the way, May the 18th, Warner Brothers Discovery up front, you are going to get all the information you want. The new structure. I'm confident that Toby Emmerich will be given another job at Warner Brothers Discovery and will be moved out as Warner Brothers chairman, Warner Brothers Pictures chairman. Be on the lookout for that. But if you're looking for these big changes that were promised and that were rumored, it's all going to be happening at Warner Brothers Discovery up front. May the 18th is a huge day if you're a DC stan. 80s rewind the times 90s. Breathe, Mick Lowell. Well, these people trigger me, my friend. I hate bullshit. I hate bullshit. And these people, listen, she's calling it a masterpiece and she hasn't even seen the movie. I mean, ridiculous. So away from the DCEU, I want to read out my final article of today. And it's about our very own wonderful, beautiful Viola Davis. And she has an opinion on critics that I've agreed on for a very long time. And I'm glad someone elite has said it. Kyle Williams, I hope at Warner Brothers up front we get DC Studios. So do I. And I expect that to happen, my friend. 80s rewind the times, 90s. Lol, I agree. So away from the DCEU, but we're talking Viola Davis. So she's the most perfect Amanda Waller of all time. She was born to play this role. Viola Davis slams critic backlash to her Michelle Obama performance, which was absolutely fantastic, by the way. Viola Davis slams the critical backlash to her role as Michelle Obama in The First Lady after many critics took issue with her bold acting choices. By Ryan Northrup of Screen Rant. Abraham Herrera, morning Mick, morning Abraham. Is there a bootleg version of the Flash teaser? Not as far as I'm concerned, but you'll get it all in the next few weeks. Bit of patience and you'll be fine. I don't want to see bad pictures and stuff like that. I'd rather wait. I'd rather wait for some HD footage. Viola Davis slams the negative critical reception to her Michelle Obama performance in The First Lady, known for her work in films like Fences, The Help, Windows, and for the role of Amanda Waller in The Suicide Squad and Peacemaker. Davis' most recent project is a Showtime series chronicling the lives of several notable First Ladies behind closed doors of the White House. The First Lady takes place across several time periods following the presidential administrations of Obama's and the Roosevelts and the Fords. The First Lady, which is created by Aaron Cooley, will run for 10 episodes, the first 2 of which have already aired on Showtime. The show has received mostly negative reactions from critics and fans alike, currently sitting at 43% on Rotten Tomatoes and garnering a similar audience score of 46%. Many critics and fans slammed Davis' performance, citing distracting and over-the-top facial expressions as one of the main issues. In addition to Davis, The First Lady stars Gillian Anderson, Michelle Pfeiffer, Dakota Fanning, O.T. Fagnell, Aaron Eckhart, and Kiefer Sutherland, among others. In a new interview with BBC News, Davis shoots back at critics who take issue with her performance. The 56-year-old actor says, critics absolutely serve no purpose. Viola, you actually are the very real Amanda Waller. Should we repeat what the lady just said? Should we repeat what I've been saying for fucking years? Critics absolutely serve no purpose. Now, why don't they serve any purpose? Social media, we have the ability now to voice our own opinions. We know what we want to go and see. Critics were invented to advise us. We don't need you. You are the most toxic people, and the only reason for your existence is to get early screenings of content. So she goes on. Critics absolutely serve no purpose, and I'm not saying that to be nasty either. They always feel like they're telling you something that you don't know. Somehow that you're living a life, that you're surrounded by people who lie to you, and I'm going to be the person that leans in and tells you the truth. So it gives them an opportunity to be cruel to you. But ultimately, I feel like it's my job as a leader to make bold choices. Win or fail, it's my duty to do that. And I agree. I won't call you a leader. I mean, you're an actor. You're an actor. You're not a leader. So, but obviously, you're talking about maybe the character you were playing. But yeah, she has to make these choices. She made the choices, whether you like them or not, you know. And again, there's ways of reviewing and critiquing stuff. If you're not constructive about it, you're going to upset people. Clearly, she's upset because what she did was criticized. She hasn't taken it well. And I would say it doesn't look good for her. It's not a good look to start calling out critics when they've critiqued your performance, of course. But I agree with her. Critics absolutely serve no purpose. 80s Rewind to Type 90. Viola Davis is from Central Falls, Rhode Island, 2 towns over from where I live. Lovely actress Abraham Herrera. Even though she's an incredible woman, Viola Davis is the man. Bat Super, you are very early this morning. Yes, I decided to come in and do it early, get a good start so I can update all my social media platforms and just relax, really. I don't feel comfortable until I've done the first video of the day, the DCEU Daily, the most important video, which updates everyone about what's going on. Trill J, what's going on, Mick? How you doing, Trill J? We're nearly through the whole video, but welcome anyway. It's your latest headlines. It's the DCEU Daily updating you on what's going on in DC live action. So rewatch the video whenever you want. Many critics have, for obvious reasons, taken issue with Davis' statement, with many pointing out that Davis has received almost universal critical acclaim for most of her career. Davis has been nominated for numerous Oscars-winning Best Supporting Actress for her role in Denzel Washington's Fences, and the First Lady marks the first real occasion the actor has been the subject of such a strong negative critical reception. In addition to further backlash from critics, Davis has also become the subject of many memes across social media, with many viewers poking fun at the actor's facial expressions in the role as Michelle Obama. To be honest with you, I haven't seen any of this on my timeline, so it's interesting. While the First Lady is evidently not landing with most critics or audiences, Davis is, as she explains, clearly continuing to make bold choices, which is commendable. Even though Davis is clearly a talented actor, as evidenced by her numerous award wins, it's next to impossible to have a career free from the odd blunder, unless you work with the MCU, of course. Although having critics slam your work is undoubtedly an unpleasant experience, Davis' comments may not have been the best response and may have, if anything, exacerbated the general backlash to the performance and the First Lady in general. I think what she said was dumb because it sounds like sour grapes, but I believe what the details of what she said are spot on. Critics do serve no purpose. They serve no purpose for me. They serve no purpose for you. They're just a bunch of arrogant little shits who love the sound of their own voice. Trill J, Harris, what's up? Where you been, bro? I wondered that actually because he hasn't been around for a few days. I thought one of the trolls might have got on him or something. But there you go. He's back. I'm always glad to see my subscribers on the live chat. You're absolutely awesome. So that is today's DC headlines. And that was in other news, Viola Davis, our very own DCEU Viola Davis, being very, very controversial. Bat Super, Trill J, hey man, just chilling. And you? So this has been the DCEU Daily with me, Mick, your host with the most. Please ask your girlfriends and your wives. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss this perfection. And just finishing the video, Trill J, host with the most. I am the host with the most. Ask your girlfriends and your wives. Just finishing off, I want to say this. 80s Rewind, the times 90s. God bless. Have a great day, buddy. Bat Super. Have a good day. I want to finish off with the Shazam Fury of the Gods movie changing a day after they told us it was on another date at a convention. I've just proved to you what I was saying yesterday about The Flash getting reshoots with a new director, that you can't trust these people. How can you say a film's being released on one day, a day before, and change it a day later after you just told another day at a big convention? It's embarrassing. I mean, do we think that they actually heard about the Avatar 2 footage getting applause? So they went, oh shit, we better move the date. I bet you that's what it was. I bet you they weren't even considering changing the date before that. That shows you what a bunch of incompetent people there are at WB Pictures. It's why Toby Emmerich shouldn't be Warner Brothers chairman. And after May the 18th, he won't be any longer. Bat Super, yeah, they flop around way too much. We can't trust them. We can't trust them. Because if you're changing a day after you said another date at a convention, that tells you something about them. This is why Zaslav and Discovery will be announcing many huge revolutionary changes on May the 18th. Warner Brothers Discovery up front. That's a big date, and I can't wait. Trill J, man, this made my night. Happy new DC. Gotta love it. Trill J, they shouldn't be scared of Avatar 2 sequels like that. Never beat the original, especially with COVID. Well, listen, there's no COVID anymore. There is COVID, but people are going to movie theaters. Spider-Man No Way Home made $1 billion. So this movie is going to land big, Trill J. And Shazam! Fury of the Gods should never have been on the same date as Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. Should have never been on the same date as Avatar 2. But you don't wait for a day after you've sold another date at a convention to change it again just because some journalist clapped at a movie. It's embarrassing. It shows fear. It shows that the WB Pictures have no faith in the DCEU. If you've got no faith in it, you don't think it's fit for purpose. Whose fault is that? It's your fault. You've made all the decisions. You fucked it up. You brought us to this. And now you're running away from Disney again. It's embarrassing. Abraham Herrera, but are we getting to see Discovery's plan on that day? That's what I was saying, yes. That we're getting to see their plan. Basically, they're going to announce what they're going to do with Warner Brothers Discovery, the future of the studio, the future of DC live action and their plans for that. That's the announcement they will make. There'll be plenty of announcements. It's a big day. They'll be talking business, facts, figures as well. So there's going to be a lot to get through at Warner Brothers Discovery up front. But we're going to find out their plans, and that's exciting. Abraham Herrera, don't underestimate Avatar. I don't. You don't have to be intelligent to even know that film's going to do well. Children, that's what I'm saying. No need to run from Disney. Well, there is a need, unfortunately, because they've created a situation that our movies, our DC movies, have weaker consumer confidence. So they have to run away from the big movies. It's why they took Batman versus Superman away from Captain America and the Winter Soldier, or Captain America Civil War. Children, they won't make a good 800 million if they keep changing the date. Shazam! Fury of the Gods has got no chance of making that figure. Bat Super, I hope Zaslav cleans up at WB, so no more incompetent people mess things up. Yes, that's the idea. And on May the 18th, he's going to announce everything. It's very exciting. I can't wait. It's a new age. It's a new dawn. I will be here to, of course, cover Warner Brothers Discovery up front. And we're going to do it together. We're going to pop the champagne if the news is good. I can't wait to hear what they're planned. Trill J, Kyle, yes, but only because of Avatar's not the story. Yeah, we know Avatar's not really about storytelling. It's about technology. That's neither here nor there. Shazam! Fury of the Gods was never, ever going to make any money if it was released at the same time as Avatar 2. So, until we see each other tonight on Movies TV Mad Live, around 6 p.m. UK time, and if I'm running late, maybe a bit later, I will see you again then. So until we see each other tonight on Movies TV Mad Live, goodbye, au revoir, auf Wiedersehen. See you tonight. Thank you for the support. Thank you for coming in. I hope you're all updated with DC live action. Thanks to moi. I'll see you again soon. Trill J, auf Wiedersehen. See you later, Trill J. Thank you for coming in for this brief period. I appreciate it. Please come in tonight and we can have more of a little discussion about DC live action and everything in entertainment. See you again soon.